Hello and welcome to this second episode of my 2023 Natural Bodybuilding Competition Prep series. I am just about in the second half of week 6 of this competition prep. So we're still in the beginning. I've got a long ways to go. So anyways, here is the update. Big things being everything is going very well. The most, I think, interesting thing of noting that maybe you will find interesting is that over the past 10 days or so, I have not reached a new body weight low. So back last Monday, I got to 201.2 pounds. I weighed in at 201.2 pounds. And since then, I've kind of been fluctuating between that point and 203 pounds. And today, even, I'm 201.8 pounds. So I haven't reached a new low, which might seem kind of interesting, especially keeping in mind that I've been super consistent. So as far as my training goes, I've been progressing. I've been performing very well. I've been increasing in strength. My energy levels have been very high. My mental fogginess has been very low, so I have a lot of mental clarity. I've been sticking to my nutrition plan to a T. I haven't veered away from that at all. It's been going very well on that front. I've been getting in all of my planned steps, so I'm planning to walk 6,000 steps per day, and I've been doing that pretty darn consistently. So keeping all of that in mind, it might seem a little bit interesting that I've been doing everything that I should be doing, eating in a deficit, I am walking, I am training well, I'm doing all of it to a T. So how come the body weight is not kind of linearly lowering as we get from one day to the next? How come I haven't reached a new body weight low in 10 days? So it's actually probably pretty darn normal. So something to keep in mind is that when you step on the scale isn't just weighing your body fat. It's not just weighing your body muscle. It's weighing in all of your body weight, everything that is included on your body. And there's a lot of different variables that can shift and change what your total body weight is actually at. So big things worth noting is like water retention, the food that is in or is not in your digestive system still. There's going to be things like differing activity level, amounts of activity level, that's going to change your body weight. There's going to be your carbohydrate intake. If that changes on a regular basis, that's going to change or it's going to cause fluctuations. Your salt intake is going to cause fluctuations. Differences in how much water you're drinking is going to cause changes. There's a lot of different variables that can be a part in why our body weight can fluctuate up and down and can actually lead us to thinking that we're not making like fat loss progress when maybe we actually are, or in my case where I am actually linearly losing body fat. So even though I'm progressively losing more and more body fat, maybe my weight's staying kind of around the same amount because of all those other variables, differences in water retention, food in my system, so on and so forth. So I'm not too worried about it. I think it's probably pretty normal. I think that from an aesthetic standpoint, like visual standpoint, when I look in the mirror and just the way that I feel, like it does feel like my body is changing. Like it feels like my skin is getting tighter. I see more tone definition in my upper body. I see more shape, more lines in my lower body. And that's something that will, like the last place I'm going to lose body fat, just because of I believe what my genetic body fat storage pattern is that the last place that I'm going to lose fat is going to be on my lower body, my thighs and my glutes. That's the last place the fat's going to go. But it looks like there's a little bit of shape kind of coming in there. Maybe it's all in my head. I don't know. But that's kind of what I've noted. So anyways, I'm not terribly worried about this kind of hovering body weight. I'm not worried that I haven't hit a new low yet. So I'm just going to keep going as planned. Now, that all being said, I've actually been talking to Jeff about this, and he actually made a note of, well, if my weight, if I don't reach a new low, if I'm not kind of starting to creep down in weight again within the next week or so, then we probably are going to be assertive with the diet, with the nutrition parameters, and we are going to introduce a steeper deficit, maybe not by a ton, but a little bit more of a deficit by taking out some calories or maybe increasing my step count a bit, or maybe some combination of the two. So we could make a change sometime in the next week or two to basically get the weight to drop a little bit more, just if it's looking like maybe we actually are in a little bit of a stall. So it is a bit of a waiting game. I'm going to be consistent, and then we'll see kind of how things go, and then we'll make a change as is needed. This is one of the reasons why it's so nice having a coach, is that I'm not the one that's making these decisions by myself. I have someone else that is way more experienced at bodybuilding preps in particular than me, that can give me the guidance and like change the plan as needed. So really grateful and happy about that, that's for sure. But anyways, there is some exciting stuff coming up in the very near future here. Next week I'm going on vacation, and so Rachel and I are going on vacation, and it's interesting because this is going to be the first time out of all the preps that I've ever done that I have gone on vacation in the middle of a competition prep. Pretty crazy. So it's going to be a really cool experience. While I'm on vacation, it's not meant to be a time to like, throw prep out the window. I'm still going to be prepping. I'm still going to be prepping on vacation. So if I can, I want to make some more progress. It'd be great if I came back and I was a little bit lighter on my feet, if I lose a pound or two. So I'm still going to be prepping. What that means is I'm just going to be very mindful about what I'm eating. Because I'm on a vacation, we're going to be eating out a lot, and we're going to be eating at the hotel. I am not going to really be able to track everything, especially not nearly as close as not as meticulously as I can here, having access to our own kitchen, our own groceries, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to be very mindful about the meals that we eat out, what we're eating in the hotel. If we do have some lunches in our hotel room, like I'm going to be very smart about that, and make sure that I am, to the best of my ability, on track for this prep. That being said, the goal of the vacation is to be a vacation. Like, prep is not going to be on the forefront of the list of priorities. The priority is to have a good time on the vacation. It's going to be fun for me because it's a new experience for me. I have not been on a vacation while on prep. It's totally new to me. So I'm going to be learning a lot throughout the process too. But my priorities are on the vacation, and then bodybuilding way down the list. That said, I'm not throwing the bodybuilding, not throwing the prepping out the window. I am going to be very mindful with the eating. I'm going to train at least 3 or 4 times while I'm down there. We have a hotel gym. It's good enough. I'll be able to do a good job of training with that. I am going to be very mindful about my eating, which I mentioned, but I'm going to limit my alcohol consumption. I'm not going to have any alcohol when we're down there. I could make it fit within the deficit probably, but it'll be very difficult to track. And overall for me, it'll make it more difficult than anything else. That's my prediction. So no alcohol, which I'm totally okay with. And then, we're just going to focus on enjoying the vacation. The bodybuilding stuff is just going to be in the far background. We're not throwing it out the window, but it is not going to be like the priority while we're down there. So that's going to be really fun. It's going to be a really good experience, especially for me. I'm a very routine oriented, very regimented, structured person. And I think it's definitely that's a good thing. I definitely preach that's something. That's a good way to live and maximize productivity and quality of life. But sometimes it's a struggle for me really to step outside of that, and when it is warranted. So this is going to be a good exercise for me to add an element of flexibility to my life outside of my regular routine, my regular regiment, where it's going to kind of allow me to adapt to something that I'm not used to, and to really practice enjoying something amidst working on something else at the same time. So I don't know if that makes much sense, but it's going to be great. It's going to be a great experience. I'm excited to share more with you all, kind of how it all goes. When I come back, I'll weigh myself. We'll see where I'm at. I might be a little bit lighter. If I'm lighter, then great. One thing worth noting is we're going to do a lot of walking, so my energy expenditure is going to be higher because usually I'm just sitting around and then doing my work, and I just do 6K steps, it's a moderate amount of walking, but we might be walking over 20K steps per day, so my energy expenditure could be higher. So I might be in more of a deficit even than I am now, so we'll see where I'm at. That being said, if I am lighter on my feet At that point, that's great. It might mean that we don't need to change my nutrition parameters. Like if I get that little bit of a drop, maybe if I'm down a pound or two, maybe I can ride out my current nutrition without having to decrease calories or add more steps, at least for a little bit longer until I kind of hit another little stall point. But yeah, we'll kind of make the nutrition adjustment as is appropriate when we get to that point. So that is when we make the adjustment when I get back, or if we decide not to for a little bit longer. But yeah, it's definitely nice having Jeff kind of giving me some guidance on that, that's for sure. But that's kind of the plan. That's the kind of the plan here in the next little while. So there you go. What I'm going to do now is, as per the last video, I'm going to throw some of my recent training footage up. I'm going to kind of commentate over it, talk through it, kind of what my technique is, like I'm thinking about, how I'm feeling, that sort of thing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into it. I'm excited to share it with you. See you there. I think that a lot of people would be surprised by how little load you need on something even like a leg press to like get the most out of the exercise, more or less. So for me, I don't have to like load the exercise excessively. So I've got 4 plates on there, and I just try to move as low as I possibly can. And as I move down, as I allow the platform to lower, I do it like relatively slow. I try to keep it super controlled, and I almost challenge myself to do it like 1, 2, or 3 notches slower than I want to. So it's like very counterintuitive to like how my mind wants to be moving the weight, because it's challenging. It's tough to move the weight down. It's more uncomfortable. Like you feel your muscles struggling more. But in doing so, like it makes every rep very stimulative, just controlling the eccentric. It's also nice just being in control of the weight. It makes it safer, rather than, you know, you're moving it around a little bit quicker, more ballistically, more overall explosively. It tends to be more injurious, harder on the connective tissue and joints when you are moving it faster. So moving it nice and slow like this, for me, very stimulative for muscle growth. And like it keeps it nice and safe. Plus, it's so tough. It is very tough. And hey, it's a bonus that you don't need to load it with a ton of weight, that you don't have to throw plate after plate after plate on there. I think it's common for a lot of trainees to just kind of really stack the weights on an exercise like this. But in doing that, you can't really, I mean, if it's too heavy, you can't move with good technique, you can't move with control, and it doesn't make the exercises stimulative for muscle growth or muscle retention anyway. So, well, you might as well keep the load a little bit lighter, in my opinion, and just like make the most out of every rep by moving with like a full range of motion, great technique, great poise, just control. Same principle here with these pull downs. All these exercises, by the way, this is basically like one of all the exercises in one of my training days. So I usually start with a leg press, then I'll do these, then I will do an overhead press, which we'll get to, then I'll do leg curls, which I didn't film for this. I do like lying leg curls, and then I'll do a chest press, which I did film. But anyways, this one is another exercise for me. Like I don't need a ton of weight, like I don't need a ton of load. Instead, I'm lifting something that's manageable for me, where I can move with control for every rep. I can that's the biggest thing, just like lifting weight that I can be in control of. My rep ranges are a little bit higher, so I think it was 16 reps here. And honestly, these kind of sets, like they take a lot of patience, because moving with control and it's just a slower tempo. Like it takes a little bit longer at the higher rep ranges to get from one end of the set to the next. But my mentality is just like, I'm not trying to just get from one end of the set to the next. I'm trying to make absolutely the most out of every second that I'm spending in this set, out of every inch of every rep that I'm performing in each of these reps. I'm trying to get the most out of it. And again, like you don't need, at least I don't need a ton of weight, and it's working. It seems to be working pretty well for me. If we're talking about like the feeling that comes with like training like this, it's very intense. So like my lats, like the area kind of, especially like right below kind of the armpit and around it and even a little bit lower there. It's like on fire for like the last 5 or 6 reps. I can feel the tension all the way through, but I can like it's fire in those areas. That burning sensation isn't always directly correlated with muscle growth itself, but in this case, I'm pretty confident that it's at least telling me that, hey, the muscles that I want to be working, they're producing force, they are probably receiving like ample stimulus for growth, more or less. So I'm feeling pretty confident that training in this way is very lucrative to me. And it's also nice too because I don't have to move with like the kind of the scary heavy loads. It's keeping it safer, which is going to improve my overall longevity throughout the prep. It's going to decrease the likelihood that I'm going to develop like a nagging injury partway through the prep. And it's just going to increase my like overall quality of life and basically lead me to the best end product possible with like the best physique possible, because I'm going to be uninjured and I'm going to be maximally stimulating for muscle growth and muscle retention. It'll be muscle retention later on. Okay, now this is an interesting point here. I actually just tried out this machine. The gym that I'm training at it's got a lot of very, very up-to-date equipment, very high quality stuff that I've never tried before. So I thought that I would try my overhead press block with a different chest overhead press. And I am a big advocate of just sticking with the same exercises for as long as possible. But I really did want to try out this machine. And as you can see, like it kind of looks a little bit funny as I get to the bottom of each rep. Do you see how like the way that my forearms are kind of pointed out to the side at the bottom of each rep? Usually it's always been my intention for any kind of an overhead press when I'm at the bottom of each rep to try to keep my forearms perpendicular with the floor. So basically pointing straight up and down. And you can see how they're kind of flared out to the side at the bottom of each rep, and my elbows kind of go behind me a little bit like that. So that's something that is a little bit uncertain for me. So I'm really trying to get a handle on this machine. That's just kind of where my elbows end up, no matter how I like maneuver my setup on this exercise, how I can set myself. Now, as far as that being a bad thing, to be honest, I'm not sure. I can tell you that there is no pain that is coming from that. There is no negative anything that's coming from it. I'm just trying to move with the largest range of motion possible. Getting to that low position means that my delts are being elongated, really stretched out, and they're in that stretched out position under load, which is very stimulative. It's a very juicy part of the rep, if you will. So that's why I'm trying to get so low. And my forearms kind of being in that flared out position there. As to if that's a bad thing per se, like if it's going to lead to injury, I'm not sure yet. It hasn't led me to any pains, aches, or anything like that. So I might give it one more shot and we'll see how it feels. Otherwise, I might just do a different exercise, because honestly, just the fact that I'm kind of questioning it a little bit, it's like, well, I don't know if I really want to kind of take any chances. It does feel good, like it feels great on the delts, and by great I mean I feel a lot of tension there. It's very difficult, a lot of that good like feeling of stress on the muscles that I want to be feeling is there, but I don't know if I want to take any chances. Maybe I'm being a little bit overly analytical, but that's just kind of the way that my brain works. So anyways, we got some good old-fashioned slight incline chest presses. These are meant to be a 15-degree incline chest press. I'm not sure these benches are in such small increments. That might be like 10 degrees at this new gym. But anyways, it's a slight incline here. Works just fine for me. I'm following the same principles performing this as all the other exercises that came before. So I'm just focusing on moving, you guessed it, with the largest range of motion possible and very slowed, controlled eccentrics. Even control to some extent on the concentric. I'm trying to move up explosively. It's not moving fast because it's just hard to lift it up. It's just heavy. But I'm trying to move like with as much poise as I can and as much control as I possibly can. And I think that is going to be key for this whole prep and just maximally stimulating for muscle growth and making sure that I'm not going to run into any fun nagging injuries at any point, because that kind of thing happens. Honestly, you train in a way that's against the grain for too long, and then before you know it, you got like a little something or another that's giving you a hard time, sore elbow, sore shoulder, whatever. So we're going to avoid that. But yeah, this feels great. The pauses at the bottom too feel a super deep stretch in the bottom position. That's what a lot of people are missing, by the way. And a lot of males will report that they have a lot of trouble growing their chest. It's because they don't move as low as they should for this exercise. Finding a way that works well for the shoulders, so maybe you flare your elbows less than me. But yeah, anyways, that concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm super excited to have you here. Like the video if you like it. Follow the channel if you'd like. Subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Bye.